Again? We are going through this with Angel Reese again? Another instance where Angel Reese shows a complete lack of self-control? Another instance where Angel Reese loses her temper? What is this? The second time this week this has happened?
Did you catch what Angel Reese just did during the Chicago Sky versus Washington Mystics game? In the middle of live play, she appeared to claw at Kiki Iriafen out of frustration, and no flagrant foul was called by the referees. Fans couldn't believe it. How does something like this happen in a professional league where player safety and the integrity of the game are supposed to come first? Moments like this don't just spark heated debates online, they raise real questions about how the WNBA is handling its officiating and what kind of message it sends to players and fans.
I'm sorry, Angel Reese just clawed Kiki Iriafen out of frustration. Like what? Like, how did the refs miss that? How did the refs miss that?
Let's talk about the moment that had everyone talking during the Chicago Sky versus Washington Mystics game. Angel Reese, after missing a few close shots at the rim, let her frustration show. You could see it on her face, shoulders tense, a quick shake of the head, glances at the scoreboard. But what happened next is what sent shockwaves across the league.
At one point during the game, Angel Reese was doing what she does best, missing layups. Unfortunately, she was unable to grab one of her recently trademarked me bounds. Angel Reese was visibly frustrated, which is kind of strange. By now, you'd figure that Angel Reese was used to missing layups and would have no reason to be pissed off about it.
In the third quarter, Reese missed another layup, and instead of hustling back on defense, she reached out and made contact with Kiki Irafen's face. As Iran grabbed the rebound, the swipe was clear on the broadcast. Iriafen immediately reacted, pulling back and holding her face, but the officials on the floor didn't call anything.
Trying to dump it off down low. Good idea.
No whistle, no review. The play just kept going as if nothing happened. This wasn't just a minor scuffle. The replay left no doubt that there was unpenalized contact, and fans at home saw it in real time. The arena felt sparsely attended, but those watching online and on TV caught every second. What really got under people's skin was that the referees were right there, close enough to see everything, and still did nothing.
So Angel Reese is obviously frustrated or something, and then Kiki's trying to go by her, and she just claws her in the face. Like, Kiki did sell it. Kiki sold it, but like, how do you miss this? Kiki's on the ground holding her face. How do you not go to the replay?
Fans erupted online, calling the no call one of the worst officiating blunders they've seen in the WNBA. People questioned how something so obvious could be missed, especially when player safety is on the line. And here's where the frustration grows. In a recent game, similar contact against Caitlin Clark resulted in a technical foul and plenty of discussion about protecting players. Yet in this case, Reese's swipe at Iriafen didn't even draw a stoppage in play. That's the kind of inconsistency that makes fans and players lose trust in the system. If the rules aren't enforced the same way for everyone, what's the point? The lack of a call or even a review left viewers wondering if certain players are getting more leeway than others.
At minimum, Angel Reese should have been called for a flagrant foul. To be honest with you, she should have been ejected from the game. With the basketball being pretend in the WNBA, most people don't expect the punches to be real. Angel Reese should have been ejected, but WNBA officials, they can't do that.
It's not just about this one play either. The incident has become a flashpoint for a bigger conversation about the WNBA's officiating standards. People want to know why the league isn't holding referees accountable when they miss something as blatant as this. The reaction wasn't limited to one fan base. Everyone had something to say. Whether you support Reese or Iriafen, most agree that the officials dropped the ball. If this is how things are handled, it's no wonder fans are questioning the league's commitment to fairness and safety. And for those who followed Angel Reese's career, this isn't the first time her actions on the court have sparked debate. There's a history of heated moments, including a recent incident involving a hair pull, where her reaction was seen as more understandable. But this time the circumstances were different, and the spotlight is even brighter.
Atkins, 7 to shoot. Cardoso rolls, catch. Cardoso over the top, can't get it. Reese fights for the rebound and a foul, and this time gets a little chippy and a shove on Nelson Adona.
With all this controversy swirling, it's no surprise that people are starting to make comparisons between Angel Reese and other high-profile athletes known for their polarizing reputations. Let's get right to it. People are starting to ask if Angel Reese is turning into the Jaw Morant of the WNBA. It sounds dramatic, but there's a reason this comparison keeps coming up. Jarrett's career took a major hit not because of his on-court talent, but because of his off-court choices and the image he projected.
Is still a game changer who is just now entering the prime of his career. But in the boardroom, where decisions are made as to who's going to be marketed and promoted, Ja Morant is persona non grata. As far as the NBA's marketing department is concerned, Ja Morant doesn't exist. Why? Because Ja Morant made himself unmarketable. Ja Morant destroyed his own mainstream drawing power.
His gangster persona, the social media videos, all of it made him a marketing risk. Sponsors backed off, and the NBA stopped pushing him as a face of the league. That's a huge fall for someone who was once seen as a future superstar.
Morant was well on his way to being the face of the NBA. 2 or 3 years ago, the league was prepared to get fully behind him. But after 2 lapses in judgment, the mainstream career and drawing power of Ja Morant have evaporated. I'm starting to wonder if something similar could happen to Angel Reese.
Now look at Angel Reese. Her situation isn't identical, but the warning signs are there. Instead of off-court drama, it's her in-game actions that are raising eyebrows. The swipe at Kiki Iriafen wasn't just a heat of the moment mistake, it's the latest in a string of incidents that make people question how she handles pressure. And unlike the Ja Morant situation, the league and media seem eager to keep Reese front and center even as fans start to push back.
What is this? The second time this week this has happened? At least in the first instance, Angel Reese was somewhat justified in her reaction. Some anonymous player was pulling on her hair, which can be a very scary situation for some players in the WNBA.
The hair-pulling incident from earlier in the season is a good example of how things can spiral. Reese's braids were pulled during a game. She reacted, and the official called a whistle. Some said her reaction was justified, others thought it crossed a line, but at least there was a call and a conversation about what happened fast. Forward to the swipe at Iriafen. This time there was no whistle, no review, and no accountability. That's where the frustration really starts to build. Fans see one player get penalized for defending herself, then watch another incident go completely unchecked. It's the inconsistency that drives people up the wall.
It's just an embarrassment for the league. It's actually embarrassing. As a fan of sport, like the way the league has gone, it is embarrassing. Like, you've got players that have the easiest whistles imaginable. You've got players that have the softest whistle imaginable. And then you can have Caitlin Clark getting... Never forget. Like, Caitlin Clark can get shoved.
You can see how this all adds up. The league has been promoting Reese as one of its biggest stars since her college days, and there's no denying her talent or her intensity. But when those moments of passion start to look more like recklessness, the narrative changes. Fans who might have been drawn in by her energy are now questioning if she's the right person to represent the league. Caitlin Clark's supporters in particular are vocal about not wanting Reese as the face of women's basketball. They point to these incidents as proof that she doesn't fit the image they want for the WNBA.
Like, Caitlin Clark can get clawed in the eye. When the ball's here, she can get clawed in this eye. When she dribbled with her left hand, she can get clawed in her right eye. And then while she's walking away holding her eye, JC Sheldon can body bump her, and she can kind of push JC Sheldon off, get called for a technical foul. That's a very bad position to oppose Stephanie White in.
It's not just about fan opinions either. There's a real risk that Reese's actions could start to cost her off the court. Ja Morant's story is a perfect example. He lost sponsorships, the NBA stopped marketing him, and his reputation took a huge hit. If Reese keeps racking up these moments, she could easily find herself in the same spot. Brands want athletes who are talented, yes, but also reliable and marketable. One more high-profile mistake could be all it takes for sponsors to start looking elsewhere.
According to Statista, almost 60% of the people who attended NBA games this season, white people. Now, if you're the NBA, you want to market players who appeal to the people who are financially supporting your league, which automatically excludes Ja Morant. It's kind of hard to get corporate sponsors to support your product when the face of your league is playing gangster on Instagram.
The WNBA itself is in a tough spot. By continuing to promote Ree without addressing these incidents, the league risks sending the message that marketability is more important than accountability. That's a dangerous precedent, and it could have long-term consequences for how fans view the league's integrity. Could Reese's next bad moment push sponsors away the way Morant lost his? The real question now is what all of this means for the WNBA's future when the league puts so much energy into building up stars like Angel Reese. It's trying to capture attention and bring in new fans. That's what every growing league wants, but the way the league handles moments like the Reese incident says just as much about its priorities as any highlight reel. Fans are watching closely, and so are sponsors. If the league appears to look the other way when a big-name player crosses a line, it doesn't just frustrate rival fan bases, it starts to erode trust across the board. You don't have to look far to see why this matters. The play where Reese swiped at Iran wasn't just a random moment, it was a test of how the league enforces its own rules. The officials didn't call a foul, and the game moved on. That's the kind of inconsistency that gets people talking, and not in a good way.
It's a flagrant foul. I think we can be honest. It's a flagrant foul. There's no point in discussing it, and to saying anything other than it being a flagrant foul is just trying to deflect from the situation, because you cannot be allowed to do this. You cannot be allowed hit people in the face.
Fans have seen similar moments before, but what really stings is the comparison to how other players are treated. Just think back to when Caitlin Clark got a technical foul for retaliating after an eye gouge. That call was immediate and public, and it sent a message about what kind of conduct the league wouldn't accept. But when Reese's actions are met with silence or a quick brush off, it feels like the rules change depending on who's involved.
Be dirty, but let's be honest. Caitlin Clark retaliated to getting eye gouged. She retaliated to getting eye gouged and picked up the tech. She tried to push her and caught her in the face. This is absolutely, and I mean this is not a dirty play. This is not a dirty play. It shouldn't be more than that. What are we doing ignoring that? You can't just ignore hits to the face.
This isn't just about one player or one bad call, it's about the entire foundation of fairness in the league. When fans see rules enforced unevenly, they start to wonder if the league actually values a level playing field. That's a problem, especially for younger athletes and new viewers who are still deciding if they want to invest in the WNBA. The league's reputation is built on the idea that every player gets a fair shot, and that talent and teamwork matter more than anything else. If that idea starts to slip, so does the league's credibility.
Players have been hit in the face constantly, and the referees are ignoring it. The referees are ignoring players literally out there getting hit in the face. And it seems to be a thing that they don't seem to care. The league and players don't seem to care. Eye pokes are fair game. Hits to the face are fair game. Since when is the safety of players of such little priority to the league? I've never seen a sports league where the safety of players is not their top priority. But it's in fact not their top priority. I don't think it's a priority at all.
Media coverage plays a huge role here too. After the Ree incident, social media was buzzing, but mainstream outlets largely downplayed it. Meanwhile, smaller incidents involving other players get blown up and analyzed for days. This uneven attention creates a perception that some stars are protected while others are left to fend for themselves. Fans notice when their favorite players are held to a different standard, and it makes them question what the league actually stands for. There's another layer to this. Sponsors, brands want to align with leagues and athletes that reflect their values. If the WNBA is seen as inconsistent or willing to overlook bad behavior from its star, sponsors might hesitate to get involved. We've seen this play out in other leagues. When the narrative around a player or a league turns negative, sponsors start to back away. The league's growth depends on attracting and keeping these partnerships, and that means showing a clear commitment to fairness and integrity.
Neck. But at the end of the day, this happened. How did the referees come to the conclusion this is nothing? You can tell it was accidental.
So where does the WNBA go from here? The answer isn't complicated, but it does take real action, and the league needs to enforce its rules the same way for everyone, no matter how famous a player is. That's how you build trust with fans, keep sponsors interested, and set the right example for the next generation of athletes. If the WNBA truly values fairness, this is the moment they must act.